Welcome to Heal Naturally. I'm Case Adams, a California naturopath, and I'm here to let you know about some of the latest research evidence proving that natural strategies can provide solutions to many of our modern ailments. Autism has exploded in prevalence among children over the past 3 decades, from about 1 in 5,000 in 1975 to about 1 in 68 recently. Meanwhile, the amount of toxins with our foods and surroundings seems to go unnoticed. One thing that's remained constant is our ubiquitous increased exposure to chemical toxins. As plastic and other man-made goods and the spraying of pesticides and herbicides has exploded, so has autism. Many still say autism is related to genetics, but logically, how could heredity account for this explosion of autism? It's simply too astounding to be explained away so simply. A 2018 study from doctors at Columbia University confirmed the relationship between chemical exposure and autism. The researchers tested 778 children with autism along with 778 children without autism who were otherwise matched. They tested the mothers for levels of chemical toxins, including DDT, DDE, and PCBs. The researchers found that when the mother had higher levels of DDT, the baby had more than double the risk of autism, and mothers with higher levels of DDE increased the risk of autism by 32% in their children. Another much larger study from Finland took blood samples from more than 1 million pregnant mothers. The researchers found that mothers with DDT in their bloodstreams had significantly more risk of their child developing autism. Research from the University of California, Davis found in 2012 that autism is linked with the accumulation of toxins within fat cells. This finding corresponds with previous research linking autism to immunosuppression, toxin antibodies, and environmental exposures for the mother. All of these linked to toxicity and immunosuppression. The study, published in the journal Pediatrics, compared 315 normal developing children with just over 500 children with mild to severe autism, along with 170 children with other developmental disability issues. A 2011 study from Stanford University School of Medicine found that autism has more to do with environmental factors than heredity. The study analyzed California health records to find 192 pairs of twins where one of the twins had autism. Both children had autism in 77% of the male identical twins and 50% of the female identical twins. However, 31% of the males and 36% of the females of fraternal twins, not identical, were found in both pairs, indicating that the environment had a lot to do with their autism. This confirms findings that the umbilical cord blood of many mothers of autistic children is tainted by large doses of neurotoxins. More than a decade ago, the Environmental Working Group's Human Toxome Project published 2 studies that found neurotoxins in umbilical cord blood of newborn babies born in the U.S. After screening more than 400 chemicals, 287 toxins were found within the umbilical cord blood of newborns and their mothers. Of these 287 toxic chemicals, 217 were found to be neurotoxins, and 208 have been found to damage growth development and or cause birth defects. This links toxins in the womb to autism. These studies from the Environmental Working Group found in umbilical cords industrial compounds and pollutants such as alkophenols, inorganic arsenic, organophosphates, phthalates, polychlorinated biphenyls, volatile and semi-volatile organic compounds, chlorinated toxins, and furans. We can add to this evidence 2 studies from the California State Department of Medical Microbiology and Immunology. These found children with autism had increased levels of antibodies related to these chemical toxins. In addition, the antibodies, immunoglobulin G4 or IgG4, tended to match to their mother's IgG4 levels. High levels of IgG4 reveals the immune system is fighting toxins on a systemic basis. Since the infants inherited the mother's IgG levels, the mother's toxin immunosuppression is being passed on to the infant. A study by researchers at the University of California, San Diego, indicates that autism most likely forms in the womb. The study, published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, examined brains from 6 autistic children who had died. The autopsy results were compared with similar non-autistic children. The autistic children were found to have 67% more prefrontal lobe neurons in their brains compared with the normal children. This is important because the bulk of a child's prefrontal lobe neuron count is produced in the womb. This means that the abnormality related to autism is produced when the baby is in the womb. Brain scans of autistic adults and children have also confirmed this overgrowth of the prefrontal cortex. This was illustrated in a 60 Minutes report that showed brain scans of the autistic temple grandin. Because the prefrontal cortex is one of the key information sorting and decision regions of the brain, this overgrowth in the prefrontal cortex explains to many scientists why autistic children often suffer from an overload of sensory information. Their prefrontal regions of the brain are overdeveloped. Furthermore, many toxins within our environment, including plasticizers, pesticides, mercury, and other heavy metals, are actually neurotoxic. This means that they damage brain cells and nerve cells. Autism is a neurological disorder. If you want to learn more about safe, gentle cleansing and blood purification methods, consider my book on the topic. Hey, thanks for tuning in. To keep up to date on future health news, please hit the subscribe button. Take care of yourself.